Mojo Break Studios. It's Dan and Doug. Check it out. Come on! So, get hyped. Be hyped. This is The Hype.
What is going down, everyone? The Hype, episode number 121 coming at ya. We got an amazing show in store for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in, as always. You can find the podcast on all your podcast networks. You can also find all the videos of our shows here on YouTube as well. Make sure you subscribe to us here. Make sure you subscribe to us on Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. So we're going to have some big things going on with the million card rip party with Topps coming up. So that'll be another announcement in an upcoming show. But make sure you're logged in and tuned into those avenues, because that's how you're going to win stuff. So make sure you're following us at all those different places to be part of that million card rip party. I want to tell you what's going down Friday. We've got the 325 box baseball mixer. And spots are moving off the site. Guaranteed to break this Friday. 17 years, different years of product. 883 hits, multiple cases. We got memorabilia in the break. We got vintage in the break. I mean, we got buybacks in the break. It's going to be literally insane. Flawless, transcendent, dynasty, triple threads, chrome, draft, jumbo, super jumbo. It's off the chain. The break is going to start 4 p.m. Pacific on Friday. We're going to do about half of it Friday, and then we're going to come back Saturday morning starting at 10 a.m., finish it up. We're going to have a special guest in the house hopefully on Friday, and double, triple cam. It's going to be off the chain. Also, a new little thing, I wanted to promote some of the cards we've pulled over the last week, some of the hot pulls that we've got. Yesterday, we pulled a Zion Williamson number to 88 out of a Prism Choice. On Monday, we pulled a Zion Williamson cracked ice, and those cards are going up. We're going to be talking about Zion later in the show as well. We also pulled a beautiful Kyler Murray cracked ice out of Contenders football, and a Patrick Mahomes cracked ice out of Contenders, which I was shocked C-Rad. C-Rad pulled this card, and one of the last ones sold for like $2K. This is a third-year Patty Mahomes. People love him. People love Patty Mahomes. What was it like pulling that card? Was it unexpected to see a Patty Mahomes coming out and stuff?
No, what's funny is that I just got done seeing somebody else pull this card, like literally the day before I pulled it. So I knew it was out there, and I knew that it was in the set. So when I saw it on the back, I was like, damn, I got one too. Let's go.
That's tight, man. That's a nice pull. He's changed his auto up a little bit. Dan, by the way, what's going on? How you doing?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm here. Here I am.
You saw Mickey.
Yep.
You went to Epcot. You made the trip back for the show today, which we're glad to be graced with your presence. That you're live in the flesh here rather than via satellite. So,
dude, via satellite worked pretty good. I do gotta say, we may have a major blooper happening soon in in 121 right here.
Why is that?
This table's a little wonky.
Yeah, it is.
It I don't think it's there's a latch here where I think it needs to be latched down. And
so you're saying this table may fall?
I'm saying that we may be in the middle of the show and this table just may take a header and fall down.
Okay.
Because I'm if you bump into it, you can feel it's about ready to fall. So, yeah, we'll see. It's you got your laptop there. You might want to hold on to it before it crashes. It probably will not withstand a fall. It's an Apple product, so don't.
No, it's actually built out of titanium.
No,
yeah,
it's not.
It is.
No.
It is. It's built.
It's built out of
take falls.
Yeah. No,
I just throw it down the stairs most of the time, and it's
do it. Do it right now. Do it. Throw it against the wall.
It's okay.
See what happens.
It's okay. I'll save that one. I'll save that one. But anyways, speaking of football, Patrick Mahomes, we've got 2 big games on Sunday, especially one really big one for me. But I wanted to get your guys' take in the chat. Who's going to the Super Bowl? Who's winning the Super Bowl? And we'll start with Dan as far as his prediction. And I know he's just going to go against the Niners. This is what he's born to do.
We're going to start with the
I already know that. Start with the AFC.
Oh, yeah, I'm starting with the AFC. So I don't think it's going to be close. I think the Chiefs are going to – I think they're going to come out. They're going to dominate. It's not going to be close. Chiefs will win. I think the Titans had a heck of a run. I'd love to see the Titans win. I want to see a good game. I think everybody wants to see a good game, but the Chiefs are going to dominate that game. And The Niners-Packers game, I think it's going to be a lot closer. I think it's going to come down to one possession, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be the hero and get a last-second touchdown to win the game.
Boo, that's not a good take.
And we're going to be looking at a Chiefs-Packers Super Bowl.
No, not a good take.
Off to you, C-Rad.
All right. The Chiefs, they all right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have to go Titans. Because I feel like I don't know, man. I don't know if the Chiefs can be able to pull it off, man. They in Kansas City, so yeah, I'm gonna go Titans for the AFC game, and then for the NFC game, hard call. It is gonna be I do think it's gonna be close, like some people were saying, closer than in the regular season game, because they got blued out. Packers got blued out that game, so
I like blued.
Yeah, they got blued out.
They got blown out. They got blued out.
But from what I've seen, Niners this year, they're a pretty tough team. So hopefully it's just a good game to watch. So I'm gonna go. I'll go 49ers on this one.
Oh, C-Rad, how do you do that? Like, how do you against the Chiefs and then go for the 49ers?
Because he represents where he lives. You know what I'm saying? Like what you should probably do.
Nah.
If I lived in L.A. and the Rams were going, I'd be picking the Rams.
I can guarantee you, none of you guys last year were rooting for rooting for the Rams to win the Super Bowl.
I was, because I didn't want to see the Patriots.
No,
I was.
You were not rooting.
I was.
No,
It was the Patriots.
No. You don't want me coming back and talking about a full year of how the Rams just won the Super Bowl. Don't bullshit me.
So you're already trying to say that's what's going to happen. So
no, I think it's going to be a close game. It is definitely not going to be like the first matchup. And if you think it is going to be like the first matchup,
I don't think
you're delusional.
So I'm thinking and the reason I'm picking the Titans. I'm picking the Titans for the reason that the AFC seems like it's all about the underdog. As you can see, it's the second and the sixth seed. The sixth seed is in the NFC or AFC Championship game, and they already went through the Ravens, they already went through the Patriots, and now they got the Chiefs. The Chiefs do have Patrick Mahomes, the guy's electric. The guy's a future probably Hall of Famer and won the MVP last year. But the Chiefs have no defense. The Chiefs have no defense. It's just like swinging gates out there, just letting things happen. And the Titans have a guy that just seems like he can't be tackled. And the Titans have a good defense. So if the Titans can get some stops, Derrick Henry can just run it down the gullet of the defense. I think the Titans win in a close game because I think Patrick Mahomes plays from down. This is how I think the Chiefs or the Titans are going to go up early, just like they did, and I think the Chiefs are going to come back. But I think the Titans are going to try to slow the game down with the run, and I think they're going to wind up winning at the end. And obviously, you guys know my pick is the Niners. I can't go against my team. I'm happy with where we're at. If we lose the game, I'm happy. We were 4-12 last year. I'm happy with where we got. NFC Championship's hard to get to, but I think we are truly a more talented team. It's just the X factor is Aaron Rodgers, and you can never count Aaron Rodgers out of any game. He is the best quarterback to have in the situation that he's in right now in the NFC Championship. I wouldn't pick any other quarterback. If I was starting a team, regardless of age, and I wanted a quarterback to start in the NFC Championship, it would be Aaron Rodgers. He's the Michael Jordan of football, basically.
I think the only way the Titans win is that they absolutely shut down the Chiefs' offense. They get into a shootout. They cannot. But there is a possibility. If they have drives where they're taking up 8-9 minutes off the clock and are having Henry run it, and you're keeping the Chiefs offense off the field. They can't score if they're not on the field. Right. So that's I really don't think I don't think they can really pull it off. They've had a remarkable year, and who would have thought Tannehill coming in and turning that team around? He's kind of the X factor. He is the guy who really, truly has made a difference. They're not in this position right now with Mariota at the helm.
No, absolutely not. And I think that's one of the key things to think about with that record, 9-7. How much descent did they have at the beginning of the year? How many games did they lose with Mariota in there? I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm sure they didn't start off very well with Mariota. So that 9-7 really isn't an indication of what they're at.
I think they were 1-3.
Yeah, I think they were
1-3.
So you got.
I want to say Tannehill actually came in week 5, and I think they lost. I think they may have started the year 1-4. I don't know if that. Somebody can maybe fact check that, but I think I want to say they were.
Busta says they lost 2 with Tannehill.
So maybe they were 1-2, No, they're one. They lost 2. They were 1-2 with Mariota. I thought they were 1-3.
What week did he officially start?
I want to say week 5. I want to say is when they gave it over to him. But I will say this while you're looking that up.
Well, they did win one game against the Browns. Their first game was against the Browns. They lost to the Jags. They lost to the Bills. They beat the Chargers barely. They lost to the Panthers. So that looks like they were 2-3 maybe at one point. And then Titans, they beat the Jaguars 42-20.
Looks like he replaced them week 6.
Week 6. So,
Okay.
yeah. And then they blew out the Raiders. Sorry, C-Rad. They lost to the Saints. And then they played, well, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Yeah, I kind of the columns are off on this scoreboard. But, yeah, I mean, so he inherited some losses. I think it's a different team now. I think and Mike Vrabel's not Bill O'Brien. That's something to keep in mind. Bill O'Brien had a lot of coaching flubs. From what I can see with Mike Vrabel, he's pretty tight-lipped, more of a defensive guy, not going to make a lot of mistakes, and going to not going to take a lot of risks either, but not going to make a lot of mistakes. And I think the Chiefs are the team that could make some mistakes here. I think Pat Mahomes could get away from the ball, maybe throw a couple picks. So that's why I'm going with the Titans. Now I want to switch it up to the Cards. Is there any guys on these teams, and it doesn't necessarily have to be rookie, but rookies kind of are what we collect at the moment. And if we're looking at these teams, we've got the 2 big rookies that stand out are A.J. Brown and A.J. Brown for the Titans, and Bosa and Samuel for the Niners. And I think the Packers and Chiefs kind of Chiefs have Mecole Hardman. Any of these rookies you think could get a bump, or any of these veterans could get a bump from playing in these games and playing big?
I don't know. I mean, you've seen already Tannehill from 2012. Some of his cards take a significant bump. I mean, they were down. I mean, they were really, really low. Mm-hmm. But you've seen that. And then you look at the obvious is Mahomes.
Yeah.
Mahomes cards. It's been kind of a roller coaster, right? I mean, they've gone way up, and then they've kind of peaked a little bit, and they went down a little bit. Now after last week, they're going up again.
Yep.
So those are the 2 that I would really look at. As far as rookies this year, I can see Mecole Hardman. His cards really aren't that expensive, and the guy is electric. And if he runs back a kick that ends up being a turning point in the game or gets a long touchdown, I think his cards can go up.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, there's a lot of weapons on the Chiefs for him to get the ball. There's a lot of guys.
But he only needs to get the ball once.
Right. He needs to have a big game. Now, the Packers, I think, have mostly Rashawn Gary, Savage. They got mostly defensive guys. So there's really – and then Aaron Rodgers' value is already pretty high too, right, on some of his big cards. But Aaron Rodgers wins the Super Bowl, which, he won't. But let's say, theoretically, in some weird world he does. Now he's got 2 Super Bowls under his belt. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What does it do for his lineage? And that's for you guys in the chat, too. What does it do for Aaron Rodgers' lineage if he wins a Super Bowl this year?
Does he overtake the stature of Brett Favre as a Packer if he wins?
Brett Favre won 1, right?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't he pretty even with him now?
Yeah, does he take – but, I mean, Brett Favre is Brett Favre. I think Brett Favre is
That's a good question.
Mr. Packer.
I think he does. I mean, I think if you got a guy that wins 2 over a guy that wins 1, right?
To change topics a little bit, like put yourself in the NFL marketing boardroom, and you have these 4 teams left, and you're selling ad space for the Super Bowl. Who you rooting for?
Well, you know what?
Who are you going to be able to monetize the most as these 4 teams?
I'll tell you what, it's the two number 2s, and the reason why is because the centennial, it's the 100th year, and the first Super Bowl was between the Chiefs and Packers. It would literally be a wet dream for the NFL if the Chiefs and Packers came in there, and it would be a wet dream for State Farm.
Oh, you
I took it from you?
took it from me, dude.
Damn it.
Low hanging
Damn it.
fruit.
You softballed it up.
Yeah, I served it up to you. I was like, I'm all nobody would want to see a Packers Chiefs Super Bowl more than State Farm.
Yeah, Mahomes and Rodgers, man. They probably have a bunch of commercials already made just in case, too.
Yep.
But yeah, Rodgers against Mahomes, the old versus the new, the 2 different styles. That would be, from a media standpoint, from an advertising standpoint, that's probably what the NFL wants, obviously.
Endless possibilities with marketing from that standpoint.
Yep.
It's like I think you're right there. Now, what's the worst case scenario? What's the worst thing that could possibly happen to where everybody gets it's BOGO on Super Bowl ads?
It's got to be Niners Titans, right? I mean, the Titans have to be, and I know you hate the Niners. The Titans have to be in, if you rank them in likability and media. If we're not looking at record, if we're not looking at talent,
And
you got to say the Titans are the fourth team on that list.
The Niners are marketable.
Yeah.
Now, how much can they be marketed in 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl? Because I know the Chiefs Packers, you wouldn't be able to turn on a station anywhere where they wouldn't be talking about the first ever Super Bowl rematch, 100th year, Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it would be it'd be like, basically, if you were to break it down at the beginning of the year, you could make an argument that is the best matchup that they can hope for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it parallels the number one.
The Titans, they can. The Niners, they'll market obviously Garoppolo. They're gonna market Shanahan, Sherman,
Bosa.
They're gonna basically bring back the lineage of the older Niner teams of the 80s. They'll try to work that into the marketing campaign as well, with the Jerry Rice and Joe Montana and the legends and the lot. Now, the Titans, what can they market? Their franchise quarterback isn't even the guy who's playing.
Right.
He got benched. You can market Derrick Henry, but what else do you market? Do you market the fact that
Maybe Mike Vrabel?
The one time they got to the Super Bowl, they lost by a yard?
Or the you'll see the Music City Miracle over and over again too.
Yeah, but that got them to the Super Bowl,
Right.
where they lost by 1 yard.
Right. Well, then you'll see some Rams on the TV, I guess.
You'll see Mike Jones.
The only time you're going to see him in the postseason this year, right? But you know what I wanted to say.
Whatever, man. We were there. We were there last year. You guys still got one game just to get there. So
we had a really bad season last year. So that's how fast
you guys had
the
a bad
NFL.
You got, besides 2013, it's been a pretty bad decade, actually.
It has been pretty bad. What was I going to say? So do you ever think, with Bosa already won the AP Rookie of the Year for Associated Press, and probably more than likely going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year with the NFL. From a card standpoint, does the sack, and things change. Things change in this hobby. Nobody was collecting silver prisms in 2013. Do you think at some point the sack can take over the touchdown, the long throw touchdown, and defensive players will start to sell?
No.
I think at some point it might.
I don't think so.
And I could be jaded as a Niner fan watching, our front four, which is one of the best of all time.
That's like saying the category getting hit by a pitch is going to take over home runs.
But pitchers don't play. Pitchers don't play. This is the difference between pitchers and defense. Pitchers don't play every game. Defensive players are on the field half the game, just like the quarterback is. So getting through and fighting through and being a beast and getting through and sacking the quarterback. I mean, we've seen J.J. Watt's card sell. We've seen T.J. Watt's card sell. We've seen Luke Kuechly's card sell. If there's guys like Bosa that continue this for 5 or 6 years, could it change the tide and defensive players could sell?
Aaron Donald doesn't sell for that much.
That's true.
I mean, what else is he supposed to do? I don't think a defensive lineman or maybe even a linebacker could really sell for that much. I think a DB, somebody who will
make it on,
make intercept, he'll have interceptions and he'll run back, get touchdowns. I think at the end of the day, if you're a defensive player, in order to have a marketability in the hobby, you have to score touchdowns. I don't know, and it's hard to do. I mean, for a defensive end, you would have to basically sack a quarterback, pick up a fumble, and run it down for a touchdown. It doesn't happen all the time.
So just because quarterbacks are more on the highlight reel, but what if a guy steadily comes out, Bosa had close to 10 sacks this year. He had 2 in the last game in the playoffs. What if a guy gets 30 sacks in one season and he obliterates the record? Do you think the tide could ever turn on him and him being close? I'm not saying he'll ever be as much as a quarterback, but could we ever get there with a defensive guy?
Strahan holds the all-time record for sacks in a season, right?
Yeah, I think it's 20.
Yeah, go on eBay and buy me a Michael Strahan auto. You can all day long for probably $20-$30.
Jason, I did say the 49ers front was one of the greatest ever. I'm obviously, really drinking the Kool-Aid as a Niner diehard season ticket holder. But I tried to replicate that Bosa interview. But anyways, I did a break with Nick Bosa
and look
during
at
the
guys
preseason.
guys like Clowney, one of the best defensive ends in the league. He was a rookie premier guy. Doesn't sell for much. I just don't. I think it's hard enough to get running backs and receivers to sell for as much as they should.
Right.
It's a quarterback-driven league. It's a quarterback-driven hobby.
Yeah, I'm just saying never say never because, we've had these rules and standards just like in basketball. Last year, we all trashed on Luka's prices because we'd never thought a European player would ever outsell, an American-born, high-jumping, three-point shooting kind of guy. But, Luka debunked the trend. So I guess you kind of have to have a transcendent type of player. And I'm not saying Bosa is, but it just will the tide ever turn with somebody like that? I mean, Saquon kind of debunked the trend with running backs. He doesn't sell as much as quarterbacks, but he sold a lot more than other running backs prior. Mm-hmm. So, it's something to keep in mind.
But Luka has debunked the trend temporarily. We don't know about the longevity of Luka. Nobody knows. I mean, are his card prices going to keep on ascending? Is it even possible? What else can he accomplish? I mean, wins a couple championships. He's probably
MVP.
He's probably going to get the MVP this year. I'd be surprised if he doesn't.
I don't know. I mean, there's James Harden's playing pretty well. I mean, LeBron James is playing pretty well. Giannis is playing pretty well.
I think Luka gets the MVP. I honestly think the NBA is kind of tired of giving the MVP goes to it's been Curry, Durant, and Harden.
LeBron probably before that.
But before that, I mean, it seems like it's like the same guys. Has Westbrook won one? He had to win one. Did he not win it last year when he averaged?
Westbrook won one.
When he averaged a triple-double, did he not win it? Was it Harden who won it?
It was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was close. I think Harden won that year.
I'm
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, next topic, we're going to get into the cheating scandal and how it relates to the hobby. Does it affect any of these guys that were on the Astros? And we'll have a discussion. I want to hear you guys' opinion. I mean, obviously, this is a horrible look for baseball. I'm pretty happy with the ban. If you hadn't heard, if you don't follow baseball, the Astros basically had a well-organized cheating plot that involved monitors, wristbands, banging on trash cans to alert the batter of what the next pitch was coming. So Dodger fans are absolutely outraged at the fact that they think that they should be the champions for the 2017 World Series because it went down to Game 7, and they were saying that little bit of an edge gave the Astros a championship. So I wanted to talk to you guys in regards to some of the big names on the team, and in terms of how does it affect their card values. And a couple people responded to me on Twitter through my personal Twitter account. Like, if you haven't followed me on there, it's @FreshCardboard on Twitter, and I tend to try to get some ideas for the show on there. But you're looking at Bregman, Correa, and Springer, and I didn't really want to talk about Jordan yet because he's still not really a rookie yet. But I wanted to look at their card values and see if it's affected, because me as a sports fan, unless I was a diehard Astros fan, if I'm a diehard Astros fan, I'm still believing in the team. I'm a Giants fan from the Bay Area here, but if I was personally collecting Carlos Correa, I would absolutely sell it right now. Honestly, I 100% would, because it's like, if I have that card in my PC and I'm talking about it and I'm selling it, there's always that cloud of, well, how good would he be if he, or, was he really that good, or was it because he cheated? And I think that cloud just follows a player around. So for me, I think I would be a seller right now with the news. But some of the recent auctions on some of these players, you've got Carlos Correa. There was a red that went for a lot of money. It was a little bit before the scandal was already out, but there wasn't any punishment. So a red refractor, first Bowman, 2013 Bowman, $18,900. That's number 5. So that's a big card of his. I think a base is in the next slide, sells for around $200. So base for $200. And then Springer's value is a lot lower. Springer's $219 on the high end on a base, and that's 2011 Bowman. And surprisingly, Bregman sells for more than the other guys. Bregman sells 9,510. First Bowman's at $300. So what do you guys think? Do you think this affects their card value? If you were holding on to a stash of any of these guys, would you be selling? Would you be holding?
It should affect, but I don't think it will. I don't know why a lot of these players didn't also get suspended or have some kind of repercussions for being involved. It kind of went. I mean, I get it. You penalize the people who are on the top, but who knows if maybe the GM wasn't even involved in it, and maybe Hinch wasn't even involved in it, Maybe it came from a bench
player,
coach,
yeah.
or maybe it came from a player.
Yeah.
And we'll never know. The top dogs are going to take the fall for it.
Yep.
The Astros, regardless of this, are a great team, and they are one of the most talented teams in the league. They built their team the right way. They built it through draft picks, and they've hit on their draft. So I don't think it's really going to affect anything. I think they're going to come out and they're going to be contending again. Whoever is going to be the GM or whoever is going to be the coach, they're going to be contending again. They're going to be one of the best teams in the West. I don't. It's a strange thing. I mean, we're also going to see it with the Red Sox as well. The Red Sox are, I think, Cora just got let go yesterday. He was probably going to get a year suspension. But we're also talking about something where baseball has been around for hundreds of years, right? Hundreds since old Three Finger Brown and Mashed Potatoes Johnson and all those guys. Cheating has been a part of the game.
It's part of the game.
Cheating is part of the game.
Okay.
Cheating is always getting the advantage to beat your opponent in baseball has always been the culture of the game.
But not technology based like this. This is a first. Three Fingers Brown did not have a watch on his thing to basically be alerted about a pitch.
And if he did, he would have used it. But they were also doing other stuff back then. You don't think – what's the difference between somebody looking back at the catcher and trying to find out what they're going to be throwing or where they're going to be positioning them? Players at second base have been relaying signs to the hitter forever.
At least the catcher will know when the guy turns his head.
But this is what happens when you get more technology that's available, then they're going to use it. All those players were taking greenies. I mean, is that cool? You're just taking.
But this is the equivalent of you playing poker in a tournament and somebody having a camera behind you looking at your cards.
You still got to. You still got to hit the ball.
You do, but you have.
You're still going. Like no matter at the end of the day, you're still going against the best players in the world. You still got to hit. Garrett Cole's curveball. You still, even if you know it's coming, you still got to hit it.
So are you saying the punishment wasn't valid?
I'm saying that there's probably out of the 30 teams in the league, all of them probably cheated.
I didn't know you were. Did the Giants just have some bad hirings and you're an Astros
fan? No. I'm just saying, like, the Astros got caught because they won. They're more eyeballs on them.
You act like it was nonchalant. This was a well-developed plan.
There is so many teams in this era that have lost like 90 games that are like, it's a good thing that we suck because if we would have won, we would have got caught.
Dude, they had wristbands that would alert guys. They had Apple Watches. They had cameras. They had. It wasn't just like, hey, I'm gonna go like this on my eye when I'm on second base, and I'm gonna tell you.
You don't think these players who are playing against them notice this stuff and are like, oh yeah, they're doing the same thing we're doing.
Yeah, they got, and then Justin brings up a good point. They got caught because one of their players talked, which is another thing that. I don't know how many players know, and somebody said some of the players should be punished, but the players were granted immunity for the simple fact that they didn't want to have, and this is what TJ said, they didn't want to have to do an investigation on each single player. It would be too long, and it wouldn't really happen.
Thanks, Dirty Banana. I appreciate it. Hopefully you're entertained.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you, if you're playing baseball is your passion. If you're Alex Bregman and you're like, you got to be top 0.00001% of, you got to be to even make it to the majors, right? To make a roster and to start and everything. So it's a long road to get there. And you see somebody and you know that your team's cheating. How come none of them went like, hey, wait, I can't be a part of this?
It just blows my mind that they can play 162 games and against their opponents, and their opponents don't know. They know. They pay attention to everything. If they're sitting there like messing with something on their wrist or something like that, these players know. But the reason why they're not going to say anything, it's a good old boys club. They're not going to say anything because they're probably doing the same exact thing.
I personally could not be involved in anything that cheats the system. I couldn't be involved in that.
I get what you're saying, but for nobody to know about it blows my mind. Blows my mind. I'm pretty sure that everybody who played the Astros knew they were doing it.
Which makes me...
And the reason why they weren't going to say anything is
or
because
nobody
they
knew.
have something in place that they're doing something very similar. Not probably exactly what they're doing, but they know what they're doing is on that gray border of like what is okay and what is not okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that. Yeah, but maybe it was isolated. Maybe only 4 or 5 guys knew.
Doesn't sound like this was written in the rule book that you couldn't do this.
I think it is. I mean,
but is it?
Any technology to the game?
They probably don't update the rule book on a regular
because
basis. That has to do with like different technology that comes out.
I know it's football, but I know OBJ got fined for wearing an Apple Watch because you're not supposed to have any of that technology on the field because you can get alerted from somebody in the stands or whatnot about things that are going on. So people play. I know in football they have those rules in place, and I know a guarantee now that they're going to have rules in place for technology against baseball, but. It's weird that it took Michael Fires, to come out and say it. Was Michael Fires the one that kind of broke it? Was he the first whistleblower?
We're talking.
Ah, okay. So
but was he? He was on the A's, right? He's on the A's now, but he was on the Astros.
And they said a lot of it came out because the Astros were kind of like they were kind of rude to some of their free agents or some of their people, like their scouts. So they got rid of a lot of scouts for some reason. And those scouts knew about it. So they said if you're kind of involved in this scandal, you should probably kind of make sure you take care of some of your people that know about it. So they were saying that was kind of the beginning of the end for them, was that these people they got rid of and no severance package and like kick them in the butt, get them out the door. Those are the people that kind of broke the news on it.
Do you think, and just straight up, do you think that, and just for case of argument, do you think that the Astros and the Red Sox are the only 2 teams that cheated with any type of technology? Do you think it's just them?
With that kind of technology, yes.
No, I mean, but you think that...
Well, you have to define cheating. That's a very vague and open subject. Hey, we don't have to time out Dirty Bananas, by the way. We like hey, we're here at open forum. I'm fine. It contributes to the show.
Yeah, I'm here to have a conversation. Most of the people who are in the chat are probably not going to agree with me. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I don't agree with you. So.
Yeah, and I don't really care. But that's what makes good conversation and a good topic. If we just sat here and agreed with each other, and it would be an hour show that, honestly, I wouldn't really feel would be very entertaining. So we're going to take different takes, and I want people in the chat to agree or disagree. That's what it's all about.
So 2 teams got caught, but you're trying to say that everybody was having a TV, a cameraman in the center field area?
I know cheating is a very vague term, but maybe videotaping something. Videotaping. I mean, you can't really videotape like batting practice because who cares?
Right.
But doing something. I mean, maybe even putting a Nest Cam in the visiting clubhouse or the visiting.
I'm sure they would see that though.
You can make them pretty small. I think for only 2 teams out of the 30, and just so happens those teams are 2 of the best teams in the league, and they've won championships recently. For them to get caught, I would be really surprised if there was no other teams that did anything that was similar to what they were doing. And they won't get caught because it doesn't really matter if you're a 500 team and you were cheating. Because,
I mean, honestly, how would you feel if you were a Dodger fan at this moment? I know you're not. You're a Giants fan.
Well, no, I mean, I could relate to it because the Patriots cheated against the Rams in the Super Bowl. They videotaped their practice. They videotaped their walkthrough to get an idea of how they were going to approach the game. Yeah, upset about it. But at the end of the day, you can't do anything to go back. Would you want a championship based on default like that? Would you want, like, your championship to be because this team cheated, they're going to get rid of their championship? Now the Dodgers have it. Do you want that? Do you want to have a parade like a year later, being like, "Hey, we won because they
I don't
cheated
think
against
I don't
us"?
stripping titles should never happen. I don't know. I guess I can't say never happen, but because if you open up that can of worms, like you said, then you're just going to be like, oh well, let's look at the 19 whatever, and then well, let's look at this. And
Dude, nobody wants to win a championship like that, do you?
No. It's like cheating at video games or turning the video game off before you know. How many times have you played somebody? That was the worst. Like, actually, the younger generation, for me, it's happened to me before.
Rip it out of the wall.
No, like you're playing Madden and you're up like 45-10, and the guy just like turns off the game. You're like, come on, dude. Like, poor sport, right? And, you know, that'll tick you off. Jason says, if the Giants cheated, then why were they so bad last year?
They don't have the talent. I mean, face it. Like, the Astros team has more talent on it than the Giants team.
Right.
And I'm not saying the Giants specifically. I'm saying I would be surprised if out of the 28 other teams, nobody cheated.
So, in your opinion, should baseball have turned a blind eye to this and not punished anybody, or should they made an example of the Astros?
I think they had to. I think the way they handled it is the way they had to handle it. I think they're aware of it now, and they needed to make an example. And going forward, I think they probably cleaned it up for the meantime. There may be some newer technology that comes out that they're not going to be aware of, and somebody's going to try to use that to get an advantage. But I think at least for the next couple years, I think we're going to be having this issue is going to be behind us because no manager or GM is going to jeopardize their career because AJ Hinch probably doesn't get another job. You think he will? Oh, so he gets a little vacation, a little 1 year. I mean, then.
But I think it was, for those guys getting fired, I think it was a great move by the ownership. I mean, it's kind of the move they had to do, but to save face with the organization, they had to do that. Before we move on to talking about Zion, because Zion's the next segment, how does this affect baseball? Let's face it. I mean, if you had to rank the most watched sports out of the big three, baseball's in third by a mile, right? I mean, you go football, basketball, and maybe even basketball's over football now, but football's been really good this year. Baseball's in third, right? Out of the major sports. Does it even get less views because of this, or do people just not even going to care when April rolls around?
I won't care. I'm looking forward to baseball.
Yeah.
Not that my team's going to be any good, but I'm looking forward to it. I think I get back to we talked about this before, and I think the issues with baseball and society that we're in now, and not my opinion, before anybody gets crazy on me, is that there's too many games.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people just don't have the attention span. You start getting to the playoffs,
but then there's not enough games in the wild card.
There's not enough games in the wild card. Yeah. That is, and I will stand behind that. 100%. Like, you should not play 162 games and it come down to one game.
Sebastian has ranked the NHL over MLB, and I don't know if I can dispute that. And it may be a product of the Giants being so bad, but hockey might be a little more exciting for baseball than baseball for me. And there's half the games. That goes to your argument. There's too many games, but you can't change it. You have to change the whole record book. But funny tweet that I saw. Actually, our trading cards retweeted this, Ben. And it's somebody's trying to buy a card, and he says, I'm looking to possibly trade or purchase a Gardner men's shoe rookie card. What do you have? Now, that had to have been maybe talk to type, maybe?
Yeah, that was a talk to type.
So it's Gardner spelled out, men's spelled out, and shoe rookie card. Gardner men's shoe rookie card.
And what does that look like?
Is it Adidas? That was what Ben said. Adidas, Nike, Reebok.
I think it's more of a K Swiss. I think it might be
it's more of a Gary V.
I think it might be a Gary V special, actually.
Oh man, I wish there was a card of like shoes or something, and be like, "Is this the one you're looking for?" Like like they had like maybe like Nike shoe cards or something, like trading cards, right? But we'll move on to Zion. So Zion was allegedly supposed to make his debut tomorrow, but that wasn't official. Now the team came out and officially said that he's going to be playing next Wednesday against the Spurs, January 22nd. And you could see that smile on his face if you're watching the video version of the show. That's what Zion collectors look like when they heard the news. They're like, man, all these cards I've been paying a buttload of money for. Now we'll get to see what's going on. What's going on in the NBA. So I wanted to talk about some of his prices. I wanted to talk about his future and see what C-Rad thinks about old Zion and going forward here. But the prices to me are insane. We could never predicted this. This is without him playing. Base card, a base Prism rookie card, not a silver, is trending around $60 to $70. That's a base card. Silver is trending around $500 more if it's graded, but $500 raw. For a silver. And then some of the bigger listings that have ended recently, there's an orange pristine 10. Oranges are numbered to 49. Pristine 10 graded. Sold for $8,600. There's 49 of these. 49 of these cards.
Pop one, dude.
No auto on it.
Pop one.
Yeah, he says pop one. Well, he's first.
Pop one flame.
Yeah, pop one flame. It changes everything.
And again, that's how I search for eBay auctions.
Dude,
I put emojis in there.
You put emojis.
I put emojis.
Everybody uses
I just
that
go
flame
like
emoji now.
flame, 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 and then I just go ending first auction. I want to see what's coming out.
I wonder if you could actually list a whole listing of just flames, like no words. We should try that, dude. Like take a cheap card and just put flame, 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 flame. Like it doesn't even say what it is. And then the description is all in emojis. Dude, that's genius. We need to do that. That gets so much press and so much hatred at the same time. So, and then I don't know if this got paid, and I don't know if
go back to that last one real quick. I want to see the subtitle. Did I read that correctly? Population 1. This is a 1 of 1, greater than any PSA 10.
Oh, so he lies. That's a lie. You just bought from a liar.
Wow, this is a 1 of 1.
No, it's not. It's a number to 49.
I mean, you're basically saying that out of the other 48, if they do get submitted to BGS, none of them are going to come back a pristine 10. Which he could be right.
Can I just mention that this is one of my pet peeves when buying on eBay. When people tell you something that you like that's already obvious, like this guy's like obviously like trying to stretch it as far as he can, like by saying this is a 101, but it's like, dude, I know a pristine 10 is very rare, probably on the pop scale. I also like the other thing I hate that I get a lot is like people will tell me the stats of the guy that I'm buying. I'm buying him for a reason, son. Like I know this already. Like you don't gotta tell me like he's one of the best rookies out right now. Like you don't have to say that to me.
In the title, averaging 12 points a game, 8 boards.
That's one of my pet peeves.
Dude, that's another idea. I'm full of great ideas today. We should pull the worst guys in the league and put their stats on there. Like averages 0.5 points a game, shoots 20% from the field. Invest now. Has no blocks. Has only played one game in his career. Invest now. It's up and coming. It can only get better. But this one was a gold BGS 9.5. Also, actually, before we move on to this, I want to step backwards to that orange. Maybe with the way things go with grading these days, maybe he talked to somebody at BGS, and they said they won't give out any more 10s. Maybe he got that, maybe he's like Joe Clemens or something, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they're like, we'll never give out another pristine 10 on this one because we know.
So then he's not lying.
Right. So maybe.
This is a 101. I also like in subtitles that you'll see like, this is the number 1 card you can get of this player.
Yeah.
I mean, this player must have. There's how many players have this one card? Because I don't know how many subtitles I see that it says this is the number 1 card to get in this guy for your collection. Number 1 card.
Number 1 card.
Number 1 card.
Thanks for telling me. And then this one, I don't know if this got paid. This was ridiculous though. 1920 Prism Gold. So true gold, number to 10, not a wave or shimmer or whatever. True gold, 9.5, $60,000. $60,000.
That must have been a buy it now.
It looks like it.
And
so who knows?
And no best offer. It looks like it was just like straight.
Clicked on it, yeah.
Like, I better pick this up right now before somebody else gets it.
114. That was yesterday, though.
Yeah, and maybe we were talking about I think a black gold sold for $28K.
Yeah,
and
you know what?
But golds are more valuable than black gold sometimes. In my
that was
opinion.
yesterday, and as of yesterday, he was going to make his debut.
So baby thought, yeah.
So I know we look at that and go, man, who would spend $60,000? Something happens on Thursday. Say he does play and he goes for 20 and 10 and has like a crazy highlight dunk. you might be able to flip that over for $75,000.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he may not have it in hand by then, but still, yeah.
It's true.
Let's take the same picture. So it's crazy. I mean, it was funny. I was talking to a couple guys that I chat with all the time, and we were talking about, one of them pulled a gold optic auto out of Contenders, number to 10 of Zion, and flipped it for $13K. And, I thought back to the time when these guys were both collecting Andrew Luck, and we were hoping to hit an Andrew Luck and sell it for $300 to $400. Now we've got a guy who's never played a game, and his cards are numbered to 10 or 50, whatever. They're selling for 10, 20K. It's just insane how this hobby's come. And this guy's really the epitome of where this hobby's has gone. And no one is saying that he's going to suck. Everybody in this hobby is like, yeah, it's God. He's God. He's God. What if he does suck? C-Rad, can he suck? Can this guy suck? He doesn't even play.
We already been over this.
We have, but there's a chance.
C-Rad said that it's absolutely not.
My opinion is that no, he cannot suck.
He cannot suck. I mean, bold statement, because there's a lot of guys who can suck. But you don't think that he just goes out there and he
cannot suck. The only thing that can happen to him is he gets a career-ending injury, but he cannot suck when he's on the basketball court.
Like, you don't think Pelicans see him play and they're like, maybe he might be the.
He kind of reminds us of Julius Randle.
No, they're all Zion. We got a place for you. You're gonna be the bench guy. You're gonna get about 3 minutes a game. Man. No, not even. Maybe just a backup to Julius Randle. When Julius Randle wants to go out, get a little breather with 1 minute left in the quarter. Zion, go out there, do your thing.
Yep. It's crazy. I mean, who knows? I mean, he's gotten injured. He had the leg injury already. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's just going to be injury that'll keep him away from being a beast. But, what if he has some kind of degenerating bones or something, and he can't. He's forced to retire. That would be so crazy. I mean, you'll just see the decline, like silvers from 500 to like $50, like immediate. Maybe not even that if he doesn't play anymore. Maybe lower than that.
Mm-hmm. Can we do this show in 4 years and then pop up that $60,000 gold?
Mm-hmm. We should
in 4 years.
If we can remember it
in 4 years and be. Yeah, I really hope for the industry and everybody who's invested in Zion. I hope in 4 years we are all talking about Zion, because if we're not, then these cards are not as much as they were at this point, for sure.
Definitely. I mean, and 4 years from now, let's just fast forward. For him to live up to these prices, he's going to need to at least have an MVP under his belt in 4 years. In 4 years, he needs to have an MVP. Maybe not a championship.
He is going to have to be hands down, without question, the best player in the league for these prices to sustain. And that means that doesn't mean one MVP. That may mean multiple MVPs. And he has to be hands down, no doubt, no questions, the number one player in the league.
Yes. Yeah. And Max says, what if he gets fatter? And po' boys and beignets, you know what I'm saying, over there in New Orleans.
I can't believe I went to New Orleans and did not get a beignet.
I know. I love beignet. I've had them before.
I feel like I need to go back to get a beignet.
Another conversation that I thought, and I didn't have time to really do research on it, in terms of basketball, and rest in peace to David Stern, is David Stern, and I'm going to do some more research on this, might be the sole reason that these cards sell for so much. And he might have a greater impact amongst the other sports in this hobby.
He did, and I think I know where you're going with this, because he grew the NBA internationally.
Yep.
And I think you're probably going, it brought international eyeballs into the NBA, and along with that into the hobby.
Yes.
So
we literally may be sitting here because of David Stern.
I don't agree with you all the time, but I agree with you on this one. I agree.
And I almost want to trace it back to where it got super popular. Obviously, Kobe kind of was the GOAT, right, overseas, and he's still viewed as the GOAT overseas. Curry's, very popular overseas as well.
Steve Nash.
So was it in, what was the year that it started? I mean, Yao Ming helped, obviously. Yao Ming was huge for this hobby as well. But I want to know when it started. Was it in 96, 97, 98? What was the year that it really kind of exploded in the international market? So that's something to think about, right? And with that, some of the guys that collected basketball moved into baseball. Shohei Ohtani, Ichiro. Ichiro started becoming collectible in early 2001. So you can kind of start seeing when this stuff kind of happened. It might trace all the way back to David Stern, because, Ichiro, you had people overseas watching NBA, they turned on baseball too, just the David Stern impact of this hobby might be the single most, I'm not saying for sure, but it might be the single most important person for this hobby is David Stern.
Well, in the one sport that has a lot of American appeal but doesn't have overseas appeal as much as football.
Right.
And you actually see that with the market and cards as well.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. We got Trilogy coming up next. Let's see how many teams are left for Trilogy. We got case number 3 we're busting. We busted 2 cases early this morning. Brand new hockey.
That right there is a $7,000 card.
$7,000
out of a retail pack.
Yeah. You can get it at
it's out of Target there.
So, there's about 8 or 9 teams left, so we'll keep going on with the conversation. So there, Zion, number to 42, Pink Pulsar, Pop 1, God knows, $6,000 on eBay via bids. It's crazy. We're talking about cards that aren't autographed that are selling for just insane amounts. If I had the time, I would do like a street walking. You guys ever watch Jay Leno? I would do a street walking with Mojo, and people would probably be super uninterested that I asked. But how many people's mind would be blown if you showed them this card and you told them how much it sold for? People would not believe you. They think you're just a liar.
They probably spend a lot of time trying to figure out what it is as well.
Right. They're
like
huh?
Whose kid drew on this paper?
Yeah.
With the picture of Zion?
Right. So, and then I was going to talk about John Morant. So keep an eye on John Morant. Looks like he's going to win, Rookie of the Year. He had some highlights that are just insane. With that philosophy, with the Zion's prices, silver prices being $500 based on hype, John Morant's prices are around like $300 on a silver right now. Seems like a pretty good investment, right? Can a Grizzly sell better than any other player in the league?
I got a question for you. Going back to going on the street and just asking random people, and this is for anybody in the chat as well. People find your casual basketball collector, somebody who doesn't know the hobby, isn't involved in the hobby, and bring up some of these rookies. Bring up Zion and go hey, Zion Williamson? I've done it before, and I've had to explain. I'm like, Zion Williamson. I'm like, yeah, he played at Duke last year. He had some dunks, and then they'll be like, oh yeah. But they're like, he hasn't played, right? They'll know
Some
because
people probably think he's still in college.
And then you'll be like, yeah, how do you think he's gonna be? And I get the same response every time. They're all, he might be okay. Nobody, but in the hobby, you have a completely different mentality where they're just like, he's gonna be the greatest player ever. But the casual fans
Yeah.
For one, probably not interested, doesn't play for their team. So they're like, whatever, I don't really care. And I don't think he's going to be you look at a superstar and they know a James Harden.
Right.
They're not going to be like, well, he hasn't even played yet, so how can he be a James Harden?
Right.
But in our industry and in the hobby, it's completely different. It's you're actually better if you don't play. It's the uncertainty of what you could be is better than when you actually go out there and perform.
Yeah, Max says people know LeBron and Steph. VGLN makes a good point. What does Zion do better than a young Blake Griffin?
C-Rad?
A lot.
Break shoes?
A lot.
But he's bigger, right? More muscular. More athletic maybe than Blake Griffin was pretty athletic when he came into the league.
So we're saying
very athletic.
We're saying that Zion is a mix between Blake Griffin
and
Larry Johnson.
Man,
and Charles Barkley.
I see a comparison to Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson was pretty hyped when he came out.
And he had those crazy dunks.
He had those crazy dunks, and he's a big guy. Mm-hmm. And
Scott says dribble. He dribbles better.
I hope for everybody's sake that Zion, and not that Larry Johnson's a bad player, But I hope he's better. I hope Zion's better than Larry Johnson.
Well, Larry Johnson also
Actually, I hope Zion's better than Blake Griffin. What if we look at it in 4 years and we're like, that comparison to Blake Griffin is pretty much dead on? How does that work for the hobby?
To be fair to Grandmama Larry Johnson, we weren't in the Prism era. We didn't have NTRPAs for as far as collecting. There was just, there wasn't really.
We had classics.
Yeah, we had classics and stuff like that. So there really was. There was just 100 million cards of Larry Johnson to collect. There wasn't one that was going to sell for more than the rest. But Scott says, are we underselling Zion's handles? Yeah, he does have great handles. I mean, probably all those guys we mentioned, Larry Johnson and Blake Griffin, definitely better handles.
See, I want to see him out there now in a real game going against real NBA players, not preseason or not the G League, not the Summer League, nothing like that. Going against real legit players in a regular season game who are trying to win. I want to see that.
Absolutely. And VG makes another good point. People are forgetting Blake was dunking over cars before his knees started giving out. Definitely something to think about. We're running a little short on time.
Barely dunking over a car. That fool went over the hood. Let's get the facts out.
Dude.
He didn't jump over no damn car, dog.
Actually, could Zion jump over a Kia?
Hell yeah, he could. He'd probably jump over a kite.
Kramer has a good question, too, is what happens if he gets injured again this season? And that's something to think about. That's going to drive the card prices down. But I wanted to get into the Upper Deck, and I was going to talk to Dan more about Upper Deck, but our segments ran a little long, which is fine. It was good segments, but a lot of people don't know that Upper Deck actually has the license for memorabilia, and they make some of the most amazing memorabilia pieces that you'll ever see. But you just don't really see them much, especially in this side of the hobby when you're collecting cards. You just don't see this stuff much. But they have, obviously, the LeBron and the Jordan license, and they can put stuff, and sorry for the blurry photos, but I would recommend going on to Upper Deck Authentication, look that up, and go on their website. This is one of the pieces we bought called The Show. We bought the Tom Brady. So they have the full license on this stuff, and I have yet to find another manufacturer of memorabilia that makes stuff as nice as Upper Deck. I mean,
Upper Deck kills it.
It's not cheap, don't get me wrong, but it is eye-dropping showpieces that they make. So Tom Brady, I threw a few of these other ones up there. We bought a Joe Montana. We bought a Steph. So there's a beautiful Tagada of Joe Montana with the hand stamp with the autograph. Steph Curry, I mean, just a basic photo, but with how they did it, how they made it look so nice. They got a lot of 3D imaging that they do with their stuff, like balls popping out of the photo. Look at this Jordan, half North Carolina, half Chicago, signed. I mean, it's just gorgeous stuff that they make. So if you're ever in the market for memorabilia and want to do it right where your friends come over to your house, and believe me, Upper Deck's not paying me for this. This is one thing I've said throughout years and years of us doing their products. The best memorabilia pieces to display in your house or in your man cave is Upper Deck authenticated stuff. So,
and the thing, I mean, and they are pricey, so it's hard to go into your local shop and they can order it for you, but not a lot of shops have items on display. And I mean, we have items on display here at the shop. So if you're ever in town and here you want to stop by and check it out, we have like some Ben Simmons pieces, and we're obviously going to have the Brady and stuff like that. Absolute conversation piece. Amazing pieces, like Doug was saying. The photography is amazing. And just some super, super unique stuff. I would definitely go check out their site, and I feel like I'm doing a commercial for them right now.
I know, that's how I felt.
I'm not, we ain't getting paid. I actually don't get to see a lot of the stuff in person until I do the Upper Deck conference. So every year it always reminds me of like how amazing this stuff looks. So, I thought we would do a little segment on it. And if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out.
Definitely. And we'll do more about it maybe on the next show. But lastly, a little teaser for next show. I wanted to talk about this. So the Adley Rushman Superfractor was graded PSA 10. So prior episodes we talked about it. I think it sold for $25,000 raw. Was graded. Got a PSA 10, and it's raised up some questions about PSA. Because if you zoom in on the card, and you can see it even in this photo, you can see how bad the edges are on this card. So the edges are very, very white. There's a lot of surface damage on this one of one. And people are saying, how could PSA give this a 10? Is PSA basically like, hey, we got the Superfractor, we're going to get some press, we have to give it a 10? So the legitimacy of grading is definitely being questioned. And here's another example of like, how did this get a 10? Now some people are saying, well, if BGS would have graded it, it would have been a 9. Well, who knows? We don't know. But I don't think that card should have been a 10. I think it should have been a 9. because look how bad the edges are. I mean, you could.
I think PSA did come out, or not specifically with this card, but they did say that they do it on a scale based on what the card is. If it is a 1/1 superfractor and there's only one of them, it's probably going to get a 10.
Wow. Yeah. There's only one.
But there is only one.
So pop one.
So you give it a 10, you can't compare it. I mean, even if you give it an 8, you can't compare it to anything else.
Right.
So
and
we've had this conversation a million times. Does it even make sense to get a 1/1 graded?
Aesthetically, yes, but
I know.
value-wise-
Yeah, to get it slabbed and to get it good to display in a case or display somewhere else, it does look a lot better, and protection over the years it's going to protect it a little bit better. But for value-wise, like why? Where is it? Where's the value in getting a 1/1?
Right, there isn't.
There isn't.
But that's the thing. Is they knew that they would be able to put this out and get a little bit of press, right? This is a big card of a first overall pick. It's the biggest card out of Bowman Draft that you can pull. It got pulled.
But it would sell for more, right? Now that it's a Gem Mint 10 than Raw.
For the person who wants the Adley Rushman Superfractor and say it was a 9, I think if that person wants it, they're not going to care. They're not going to care if it's because you can't compare it to anything else. It's not like there is the other Superfractor of that same exact card to compare it to.
Well, that's the thing, and that's VG. VG is thinking exactly what I'm thinking of. Wouldn't it be in your best interest if you're a grading company to grade this card a 10, because whoever else buys a Superfractor for $20,000, $30,000 is probably more than likely going to give their card to PSA, knowing that they're really lenient on giving 10s here? So you know what I'm saying? Isn't that where it's like just not transparent? Like, so because in their mind, this is marketing, right? This is marketing. So all the big spenders, all the guys that get Superfractors are normally big spenders unless you get lucky and pull it. But whoever buys this is going to see that it's a 10. So maybe their next Superfractor, they want it to match, right? So they're going to send it in. There's so many reasons for them to give it a 10 that overruled the reason to give it a 9. You know what I'm saying? From a business standpoint. And that kind of sucks, in a sense. For us as collectors to know that, hey, maybe the rules are bent. Well, the rules aren't going to be bent on my base auto.
I mean, I honestly, if it went to Beckett, you think they would give it anything less than the 9.5?
I think they give it a 9.
I think they'd give it 9.5.
You think they'd give it a 9.5 too? Yeah.
I think they'd give it a 9.5.
Question. I usually do random team thinking about the Boomtastic. If I were to buy a spot, how many cases do they break? It's one case. Each case is a case. There's 4 boxes in the break, and there's 10 buyback cards in each break. Don't you pay more for how much the card grades at PSA? I don't think so. No, not that I know of. You could do a minimum grade, but yeah, that's it. Well, we're getting
what about if they had a grading scale like that? What if the price was based on
how much you want to pay?
No, how much the card's worth.
Oh,
if you want to get it graded, but it's like a $50,000 card, it's going to be like $5,000.
That's crazy. Well, yeah,
I'm not trying to give anybody any ideas, but then at that point, you're the grading. Honestly, I think the whole grading, the transparency's not there, and I wish people would stop being like, I need to get my cards graded. I need to get my cards graded. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you need to get them graded?
Right. Exactly. There's so much questions. We'll leave you guys at that. We'll be back next week with episode 122. But tune in this Friday for the 325 box baseball break. Biggest baseball break ever. And spots are moving. Spots are flying off the site. I know people are getting their tax returns and they're getting spots. It breaks down to under $10 a box if you look at it that way. Under $10 a box. And there's a transcendent case in there. There's a 101 Jeter that we're giving away for the person who gets the least amount of hits. There's prize packs from Panini. There's prize packs from GTS. There's prize packs from us. There's prize pack from Topps. So before you even get into the break, you're getting a great lump sum of stuff that you're guaranteed. So we also did a guaranteed hobby box for each spot now too. So it just ridiculous stuff. Case of Flawless, Case of Dynasty. The list is just incredible, and it's never been done before. And it's going to be an epic event, so guaranteed to fill. guaranteed to fill and break. We'll be doing it Friday, so grab your spots before it's too late because you're not going to be wanting to watch it and be like, man, I really wish I would have got into that. Well, it's too late now. So grab your spots, and we'll be live on Friday for that. But don't go nowhere for now. We're going to be breaking Trilogy. We've got basketball tonight. We got baseball. We got football. We're going to be live for the rest of the evening as well. So we're going to take a quick break to get the Trilogy break ready. We still got some teams available for that. We also have the Trilogy Random coming up. So we'll see you guys in a few. Peace. I don't have any sound to play out, so check it out. Peace. Hype, hype, hype.